Political events such as the 2000 coup created a major division between the two major races in the country, with perpetrators and supporters taking part in a disruptive call that left the relationship of the two races on its knees for years. For many who had begun to rebuild their lives after the 1987 upheaval, the event of May 2000 was a painful reminder of unresolved division, reopening wounds, and undermining efforts towards reconciliation and stability. Both coups were driven by deep-rooted tension between indigenous Fijians and Indo-Fijians, reflecting struggle over political power, land rights, and national identity. The 2000 coup, however, intensified these issues by exploiting ethnic grievances. For families and communities displaced or traumatized by the 1987 coup, many had begun rebuilding their homes, businesses, and lives when they were thrown into another cycle of uncertainty and loss. The 1987, 2000, and 2006 coups severely undermined trust in democratic processes, creating a sense of vulnerability among minority groups and deepening societal division. For the victims, it wasn't just a political event, but a personal tragedy, forcing them to relive and re-navigate the hardships they thought were behind them.
May we bow our heads in prayer in the name of the Father.
In September of last year, Parliament passed a motion to establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Cabinet set a steering committee to help develop a legal framework for the establishment of the Fiji Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The steering committee has been consulting various stakeholders, the general public, and diaspora groups abroad to discuss provisions of the draft legal framework.
The question is basically, if we have such a commission as such established, does it guarantee healing, or is it just closure for the country for the past 3 coups that we've had?
The subcommittee of Cabinet undertaking the Truth and Reconciliation Commission consultation have traveled around the country to learn from experiences of those that were victims and perpetrators of past political events. The aim is to improve social cohesion in the country, promote healing and unity.
Our main task has been to develop a legal framework and bring a bill to the Parliament to actually help with the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, since the Parliament has approved that this be established.
Although Fiji has experienced different political upheavals since 1987, according to the National Truth and Reconciliation Steering Committee, the impact on different groups of people were never fully addressed. Many young people have spoken of the trauma passed down from their parents and grandparents, highlighting that the reasons behind these events were never properly explained, leaving various communities to carry the fear and unresolved grief from the past.
While we've had different political upheavals, from 1987 we had the first coup, we've had 2000 civil unrest and mutiny, we had 2006 coup. Each of these events happened, different people were impacted, but we've never actually spoken about it or articulated it.
We are moving towards a time where many of our leaders are moving on in age. There is a need for a generational transition. So this process of reconciliation must also be one that is what we call intergenerational, because some of the perpetrators are quite senior in age, right? And the victims also. But the children of the victims, grandchildren of the victims, the children of the perpetrators, the grandchildren of the perpetrators also carry this trauma that has been passed down. And so we have to make sure that while there are stuff at the higher level for the older ones and all that, we have something for another generation and the young people as well. That's very, very important.
According to those that work in the space of reconciliation, by sharing experiences, victims can regain their sense of dignity and control, as many who suffered feel ignored and silenced, and telling their story in a safe and supporting space helps them feel empowered.
Some people wait for the right time to come and the space and the safety to be able to tell this. Then, meanwhile, this traumatized feeling has been sitting around on the person, and eating into the person. So to heal that, it will take time. What the process of reconciliation can achieve is that the person will be healed through the telling of the stories and become reconciled to his experience. And to the extent that the person can live with this hurt. Not that the hurt is totally erased, is gone forever. I don't think so that is possible, and may not be possible, because the hurt will remain. But what can change is that this person is able to live with this thing. And that's the whole, what reconciliation brings. A person is able to reconcile with the past. And to the extent that the past no longer dominates or affects the person. So he's able to move beyond the hurt.
Faith leaders are of the view that sharing stories and truth-telling is a cornerstone of reconciliation, as it creates a record that can prevent the distortion of past conflicts. By hearing a wide range of perspectives, society can gain a more understanding of the conflict or upheaval, moving beyond one-sided narratives or official versions of events.
I'm one of the victims of the coup 2000, and I suffered the most, maybe. I don't know how we solve this problem. Just believe in God, because just like said that regarding the thing that the church. Nowadays we see the support of all the things. Everything happened that day was a very, very dangerous one.
People came to that space to more share the grievance or talk about the painful events they have gone through and how it's impacted them. And everywhere we went, people said, we need this. We need to be able to articulate what we've gone through. We need to be able to articulate, understand what the truth was behind it. We need to have a space where we can come together and start healing.
The key to all of this is in the first word of that commission that we have. Before we can have reconciliation, we must have truth-telling. And truth-telling is painful. But truth, as Jesus says, also sets you free. Yeah, Jesus said, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. So that's an important aspect, that people want to know what really happened. Right? And if you want someone to forgive you, to truly forgive you, and not just say, set, it's okay, satoso, but to forgive you from their heart, they need to know the truth. The truth, not only what you did, what someone did, but the why they did it.
People need to tell the truth. As they say in Africa, I want to forgive, but I need to know who I am forgiving. So truth-telling people who have done, injustices and hurt people, physically, politically, or whatever, people need to tell the truth.
We need to do it sometime in our history. And this is the ideal opportunity. It will be a very painful process. We have to be ready for that, right? And that's why I'm saying the churches and faith communities, from the pundits, the imams, taltalas, everybody needs to be there to support people who are in that space, civil society and the NGOs also. But we need to have that process.
Asenga sanga ni rao ni viro ro na beka ke mi rawata na singni kuwa kena mbula ni dhambo mbula era mai sule ke non mbula na wati muni na lube muni ana buku ni bunwa ana buku ni matintu ana buku ni matebalu sakena kamunanga na imata ni ngasau ni matebalu.
In a powerful gesture, the commander of the Republic of Fiji military forces led his officers in seeking forgiveness for the leadership decisions made during events of 2000. The 24th anniversary commemoration of the 2000 mutiny marked the culmination of the Republic of Fiji military forces reconciliation and restoration initiative, which sought to unite the two factions that emerged during the rebellion. The event highlighted the RFMF's commitment to acknowledge past mistakes and served as a critical step in the broader process of reconciliation within both the military and the nation. The commander's heartfelt call for forgiveness was met with a sense of understanding and solidarity among the ranks, emphasizing the crucial role of leadership in shaping history and the responsibility it entails.
The reconciliation and restoration at the RFMF, I think, is a very noble thing. It's a noble process. It started from March up until November. I think it was an honest process that the commander and the RFMF thought up that is relevant to the organization to, one, make the RFMF come to realize its own shortfalls and acknowledge its role in Fiji's political past. And also by that process understand that they have, caused victims. People suffer, not only soldiers but also Fijian society in general.
That's a very, very important process. I'm very, very grateful to the commander and all who are involved in making such a courageous decision. One of the things that is hardest to do is to face our demons. It's very easy to sidetrack and take the easy way out. The commander and the team that have taken the courage to be able to look at it, it's difficult, it's painful, which will be the national TRC process as well. But they have persevered, they have prayed, they have fasted, and they have done the process, or they're working on the process of looking into themselves and healing.
Reconciliation, restoration of relationship and fellowship.
Through its own reconciliation initiative, the Republic of the Fiji military forces has successfully embarked on a process of restoration, with the commander leading efforts to chart a new direction and vision for the future of the force.
Dana kana nungu pahivina ka wana torang komande nona tuwa ka me pakaidhuri na vaka bimbingo na vi na vi ndwa kando watataki kena vi busbusuti sa nayanga me kenda na vi busuti ira takam na idakawak buto ya meranin sana toso iliu sanda na belong manin da doa watatiko na nanda sa na toso chiko na buru-burungko sin ramen ta sana vi reile buta kitungan da vi indusiti ko sa ya da mai na nona ngona kalome da vi busbusuti da vi lomani sa vai na kin sa mai ya na singa karoni November na vi busbusuti ken vi buya sa vai na kin turang komanda na nona tuba ka amaya pai durra kena na vi busbusuti na sinaya.
And it was a great opportunity for us to just be together and look each other in the eyes and say, I'm sorry. Particularly for those that are no longer here, those that might have died as a result of the actions of some on that day, to see their widows and the orphans that are left, and realize how much damage was caused, and for the victims to say, we accept your apologies.
And I think it's been, a great success to be able to go through that whole thing in its entirety, because it was not easy, confronting, your victims, confronting whoever, whoever's done something evil to you, But I think the reconciliation and the restoration part is making sure that the RFMF as an institution gives life, gives joy, gives peace, gives security to the future of Fijians and the future of the state as such. That I think is the biggest thing out of that, and I would like to thank the commander for his leadership, for his courage, and for the host, trusting him in that process. And I thank the committee, the chaplaincy that has worked very hard, put the process together, and everyone involved. I would like to acknowledge their role, for what I believe, is going to set the platform for, in a massive way to the truth and reconciliation process. Because we need the truth. We need people to tell the truth. We need to take people to take responsibility for the truth. But we also need people to be accepting.
Because military was involved in every event. So they need to, first of all, look at themselves and heal, because I'm sure when when the commission will go around, and just as we went around, people kept bringing the military up, whether it was 2006 or 87, people kept bringing that up.
87 continues to be part of our journey. At some point, we need to say, we've learned from that. This is the way we are going into the future. And that we will not allow 87, 2000, 2006 to shape our future for us, or to drag us backwards. And that's exactly what the TRC is about, and also the reconciliation and restoration process is about.
It'll set back negotiation right back to square one, because we will not accept.
Joseph Fanata, a member of John Spain's group in the 2000 coup, has described the Truth and Reconciliation Commission as an ideal vehicle for promoting healing and forgiveness in Fiji. He has also actively participated in several consultations aimed at assisting the development of a legal framework for the establishment of the Fiji Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
I'm from Lakamba in Laos. Brought up on the island. My background is in the media. And I was involved in something that was unforgivable. That is why I believe that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission is a good platform to try and work out all the ills that has bedeviled the nation, and hopefully we'll come to some kind of understanding on the path forward.
Nata, who now spends most of his days in Nandi, running his business and working with disadvantaged youth on the streets, admits that serving 24 years in prison for his involvement in the 2000 coup has profoundly changed his perspective, reshaping both his outlook on life and his understanding of the relationship between the country's two major races. This lengthy period of incarceration provided him with time for deep reflection, leading to a significant personal transformation. Over the years, he has come to recognize the complexities of national unity and the importance of fostering harmony between diverse communities. He says his experience behind bars, once marked by regret and remorse, has become a catalyst for growth, enabling him to view the nation's racial dynamics through a more empathetic lens.
The Truth and Reconciliation Commission is a start, and it should not be just a 1 year, 2 year process, and then the work is after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. What happens after that? I think we know some of the answers to our problems, right? I think we should honestly talk about it. All right. There must be forgiveness and asking for forgiveness from all the parties.
Private Siavula, a policeman and father of 3, was tragically gunned down by rebels while returning to the Nasova barracks in a police vehicle. In an instant, his wife Akaneta Siavula became a widow, and their children were left orphaned, all as a direct result of the 2000 coup. It was a devastating blow the family could never have anticipated, nor could they have ever imagined. This loss was not only a personal tragedy, but also a stark reminder of the far-reaching consequences of the violence and turmoil that marked that period in the country's history.
Sa Busutira. Pati sinraw nila na oto tinamandang na matabang bauta. Kanda pa nakatamanda Busut, yang manda Busutir na sa Busutira.
Like her, a few people suffered they paid the ultimate, the passing away of their beloved ones, in her case and her family, and I can only send my remorse and sorrow to her family, and for her to forgive and for her to come out in the manner that is beyond anybody's expectation and imagination is very kind of her. And yes, they have suffered. I still remember every time the name is mentioned, it brings emotion. Because there are families like her who lost their loved ones in the prime of their time, and you can never begin to understand how much they went through at that time.
According to faith leaders and those tasked with overseeing the consultations for the development of the legal framework for the TRC, the initiative is a valuable opportunity for the nation to work together, providing a platform for open dialogue that begins with articulating the pain and suffering of victims from past political events, ultimately paving the way for healing and progress.
Of course, some of them talked about it's painful to reflect on some of these things. But that we heard from every community, that it's painful to reflect. It's painful to remember. But one of the things you'll see in post-traumatic awareness and healing, the first step towards healing is reflecting and remembering and articulating it. As painful as it is, that is the first step.
So again, this is based on the first premise, and that is that God begins with the victim. So our reconciliation process should begin with victims. Because from the Christian perspective, this is the work of God. We work with God, so we have to start with the victims. And that is how God works, restoring the victim's dignity.
If we don't deal with these issues now, they will perpetuate. And, if we're really serious about breaking cycles of violence and breaking these are the generational curses of Fiji. It's not about the spiritualization of generational curses. Somebody cursed your great-grandfather, so it's going through. These things, refusing to deal with the issues in one generation, passes all of that to the next generation and the next generation. So how do we deal with those things? And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the whole nation, government, civil society, faith, to come together and really talk about how we take our nation forward.
The rolling out of the National Truth and Reconciliation process marks a significant achievement for the coalition government, demonstrating its commitment to addressing the nation's past and developing a path towards healing. Prime Minister Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka has publicly acknowledged the contributions of those who have been involved in the process thus far, recognizing their dedication and hard work in laying the foundation for this crucial initiative.
I'm very happy with the way the Truth and Reconciliation Commission work has been carried out and all the efforts. And I commend Honorable Sashi Kiran for the work that she is doing on the ground. And also the Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces in the work that he's internally doing with the military personnel, both current and retired. And that's what I'm encouraging people to do here in Fiji as we go through our own truth and reconciliation processes. I believe it is very successful and will probably be one of the major achievements of the coalition government. And I had mentioned that I was looking forward to cooperation from the opposition. They have cooperated. In fact, they seconded the motion for truth and reconciliation. And we look forward to their continued support in the efforts for national truth and reconciliation.
The task of developing a legal framework and presenting a bill to Parliament for the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was assigned to the steering committee formed by Cabinet, and the bill was introduced during the September sitting. Once debated and passed, the President will appoint a Fiji Truth and Reconciliation Commission which will operate independently of the government.